giving y'all tips that's aside this topic. Fuck that tea.
I don't dance now, I make money move. Say I don't gotta dance, I make money move. If I see you now speak, that means I don't.
Everyone, what's up? My name is T. If you're new here, I am a dental hygienist and a content creator. I love making content based on dental hygiene, lifestyle, and beauty and skincare. And I throw a little travel and vlogs in there too. So if you love content like this, make sure you're keeping up with me and you subscribe to my channel and you're following me on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram as well. Today's video is going to be about why people have an issue with their jobs and what the red flags are that you can recognize before you go and get committed to an office, or if you are in this current situation with your job, how to look out for the things that may tell you that this isn't the job for you, or it's just not a good fit. So one quote that I really like is, your job is why you hate your career. Let's think about that for a second. People don't realize that they don't actually hate what they do for a living and they don't hate their career. They just don't like the capacity at what they're doing at, or who they're doing it with, or where they're doing it at, because it just doesn't mesh and fit with their personality, or it does not fit their core values as a person in that employment sector, right? So reason number one, in my opinion, is to understand and know your why. Why are you getting involved in doing this career in the first place? Like, why are you even involving yourself in wanting to do this task? Why did you go to school and do 3 or 4 years of school? Like, what is your why? What are your reasons? You really need to sit down and think with yourself. And I would suggest writing them down. Like, write down your why. And if you're not in school yet for this career, you need to be researching and doing internships and involving yourself with people in these spaces, shadowing someone who does this career, so you can see what they're doing it for and you can learn from them as well. Maybe even like a mentor or something like that. If the red flags that come up for you are that the job you have are not following your why and they're not aligning majority of the time with your why, that is not the office for you. That is not the job for you. That is not the company for you. Has to be more than money. It has to be more than a dollar amount. It has to be more than status and notoriety. It has to mean something to you. It has to mean something to you in your heart. So even just a little bit, because if you don't like what you're doing and you don't have a real reason for it, it's not going to have longevity and you're going to burn yourself out and you're not going to like it. I know you've heard, if you do something you love every day, you'll never work a day in your life. That is so true, and that's what I live by. Does the dentist or the management align with your goals? It's kind of tying into number one, but basically, do they share the same values as you? Do they care as much about the patients? Do they find education to be important? Do they find technology and advancement and achievement to be important to them? Like, do you guys share the same values? Are they okay with change? Those are all questions that you should ask yourself. And are things being done because it is for the greater good? Or is it being done for malicious intent or sadness or type of exploitation of someone? That is not somewhere you want to work with. A red flag would be going somewhere, for example, where you're working for them and you're ultimately there for patient care, to help people and be a good team player on your team and work with other people who feel the same way, right? But you end up working for a dentist. If it's a private office, you're working for the dentist, a corporate office, and you're working with them, and you find yourself constantly battling with them about what is the greater good for their care or what is important financially. So we can push things on people for profit, but ultimately we have to do what's best for that person regardless. And understanding your autonomy, understanding what exactly am I here for? What am I here to do? Like, I would say the third thing that I would say is unprofessionalism, disrespect, passive disregard, passive aggressiveness, no change or small changes, and then it goes right back to the same way it was. I would put all of that in a nutshell and just say unprofessionalism. I feel that we kind of look past things and we say, that was kind of weird, but we don't ever say, okay, let me put my foot down. Once you see that first thing that gives you a sense of instinct that it just doesn't seem right, you should listen to that. That's a red flag starting with just off the bat. So if you find that your coworker, as an example, is a bit inappropriate with patients, and you're starting to see some of the patients that they were having for a while, and they say, oh yeah, like that such and such made me feel so uncomfortable this day, and you're hearing that 2 and 3 different times, different occasions, and it's being brought up time and time again where the patients feel they can confide in you, and you want to say something but you're kind of not sure, but you do end up hearing through the grapevine that that particular staff member does those things and it makes people uncomfortable, but no one's done anything about it. I've been in that situation. That's why I'm using it as an example. That's a red flag already, because that means that someone is not being professional and it's not being taken seriously, and they're not being held accountable for their actions. And when that happens and the whole staff knows that this person is not doing what they're supposed to do, and it's just being swept under the rug as a passive aggressive thing, like they'll get a conversation but nothing's being done about it, that's a big red flag, at least for me. I definitely see the red flags that are going on, especially with unprofessionalism when it comes to your management, with your boss, with the company you work for, with your coworkers, you know, or even the patients. Sometimes you'll have a great office and the patients are ultimately so rude, so nasty. See moments of unprofessionalism, take it for what it is. That place may not be for you, and it's up to you to decide from your instinct and your intuition inside, this doesn't seem right. Should I continue employment here? Can I overlook this situation and let it slide and continue to work here? Or does this really, really not go with my morals, you know? And I feel like that's only you can know if something is ethical for you or not. Let me know if that makes sense. We good? We still here? Okay. The fourth thing that I would say goes back to 3, which is the patients and staff are always complaining to you about the actions of others or the environment. So if they find that something is not being done about the things that they don't like, and you hear it from several different people, or you know that there's that significant problem person in the office and no one has seemed to reprimand them, or I'm not saying they need to be fired, but there's no correction to it, it's kind of a red flag. But unfortunately, even like people that I know who are adults and they're full into their career, you're going to encounter this, especially in hospitals and healthcare. We have such a shortage in healthcare professionals, and there's so much high turnover with employees that you're going to meet someone who is a problem or something that is a problem, and it may not get addressed. Work anywhere where the environment is volatile or someone is disrespectful to me, coworkers, patients. It's just, I wouldn't be able to work somewhere like that. Everyone is different. They could put their head down and be like, child, that don't got nothing to do with me. I cannot look past disrespect and unprofessionalism that's not being handled. Like, that person should have a write-up. There should be warnings. There should be discussions. HR should be involved. But unfortunately, in most situations, if you work for a private dental office, for a dentist who is the boss, this is his office, he owns it, it's his business, there's no HR. He is the HR. So if he says it goes, or he has no opinion about it and doesn't care and doesn't do anything about it, and the manager doesn't either, it's unfortunately not going to get solved. Number 5 would be for certifications. If no one in the office has proper certifications, or the people in the office are not working towards their certification for these tasks that they're performing, that's a big red flag. So if you end up finding out, or someone reveals to you, and I'm telling you all of this in my opinion because I've experienced these things, comes to you and lets you know through conversation, they're helping you clean your room, you're a hygienist, they're helping you clean your room, and they tell you, oh yeah, I'm not a hygienist legally, I'm just here, you know, cleaning teeth until I get the money to afford my board's exams. That's a red flag, because they either didn't reveal that to the employer that you're working for, or people at that office know what's going on and they're okay with that because they're that desperate, or they just honestly don't care. You always want to work somewhere where they take licensing and certification and, again, professionalism to a highest regard, because if something happens, like where does the lie stop? You know, like how far does this lie go? They can lie on you now and be like, hey, she knew about this. I don't know. I just don't want to be involved anywhere where things are sketchy. And if your dentist is someone who is constantly being sued, which I've experienced, I'll tag the story time up here about that situation. It's on my TikTok as well. Make sure you are aware of your surroundings and you're observing, and don't push down that feeling that you have where you're like, something is not right. Believe that. That's your intuition inside of you. Whoever guides you, whoever you pray to, telling you, get out of here. No, it doesn't matter how much money they're paying you. Find a safe place to go, because this isn't it. Let me know how you feel about this topic in the comments. Overworked and underpaid. If you feel that you're working a certain position somewhere and you feel like you're qualified, you have the education, you have everything that you need in order to be paid a certain amount, don't lowball yourself and don't work somewhere where you feel like you're being overworked. If you know at the interview that you're going to be somewhere where there's 30-minute appointment slots, there's 10 people being seen a day, it's a madhouse, and you're working at an office that's just what we call a dental mill, where people just coming in and out, in and out, in and out, patients are just being seen left and right, I would not suggest working somewhere like that. That's a big red flag. You are worthy of whatever you decide you should be paid. Whatever the median income is in your state and in your city for what position you're in is what you should be paid. You should not be paid any less than that, and you should be paid more than that if that's what you want exactly too. Yeah, make sure you're getting paid for your working interviews too. Do not go anywhere that is not paying you for your working interviews. You should be paid because you're working, and there is somewhere out there that will pay you for your worth. So do not settle. Don't ever settle for a place. That's my advice. I will never settle. Don't settle. Working interviews don't always give everything away, but I would say the red flags are if you're at a working interview and you're seeing things that are going on and you don't like how it's going. If your working interview was like okay and you're not fully committed, don't accept the offer to work at this place. Saying a mantra like, if you, what was the mantra? Hold on, I forgot it. It's like, there is rejection is protection and blessings are in disguise. So you have to understand that sometimes something is not for you, and it doesn't mean that you're less than or you don't deserve it. It's just that that was not supposed to happen. That's one thing I've said in several videos on this channel, that you're gonna have 10 no's before you have your good 2 yeses, and you have to be okay with rejection. And you, not even just rejection, that's not the word, but being okay with the fact that things may not always go how you planned and how you want it to be. Say, set healthy boundaries. You have to know yourself enough to set healthy boundaries with yourself, set healthy boundaries with your family, with your coworkers, with your friends, and your boss and your employer as well. The people that you interact with every day, you have to set healthy boundaries. Most people say, oh, this is my work family. This is, you know, my work bestie, my work wife, my work husband. Like I said, this is my opinion and my experience. I've tried the whole friendship thing at work, and I've also tried the whole work husband and work bestie, and, you know, everyone at work being cool with each other. And when I blur those lines and we start hanging out outside of work and we start doing things that are very much friends and or acquaintances, it makes things messy. There's a difference between a healthy environment where everyone feels happy to be together and they work well together and everyone gets along, and a complete, like, almost creepy and weird way of being involved in each other's lives. Like, it's over the top, and you know what I'm talking about. Like, people are just like, this is weird. Like, I had an experience where I worked somewhere and the boss had keys to the assistant's house, and he was able to go in her house and be like, hey, I needed you to do this and that, and you overslept. Like, they were like, oh, I'm gonna go to her house real quick. I have keys to her house. I'm gonna go wake her up. I think she overslept. That's weird. That's weird. That's too close to home. That's too literally and too close to comfort. Like, you do not need to know that much information about your coworkers and the staff, and they don't need to know that much about you. Keep it very tight-lipped. Keep it professional. Some people may not understand that, and they might find that that level of professionalism that you hold yourself to, and that privacy and that set of boundaries that you keep, they may try to override those boundaries, but don't let them do that to you. And if that happens, that office is not the office for you. That employer in that environment is not the environment for you. You can be friendly without crossing boundaries. And people don't need to know your business, and you don't need to know their business. Shares too much. I don't like that. That's weird. I don't like it. We're here to do it as well to our ability and go home. I don't need no friends. We're not here to make friends. I'm here to do what I need to do. I'm going to be kind and respectful to people, but I'm going home because I have friends and family and a life outside of here. Some people don't, and that's the red flag, that people cross those lines because they don't have healthy relationships with themselves and their friends and their family at home, so they make their work family creepily and weirdly, I don't even know, creepy ways of family at work. I feel like that's the biggest one. That's weird. It's weird. And you can't pay me more money because you want me to be your friend. Don't do that. That's another story for another day. Another story for another day. Okay, I kind of went off on a tangent, but you get what I'm trying to say. Knowing your laws and policies and your procedures and practices is going to save your life. Don't understand their policies, their laws, their procedures, and what they should be doing with their job. People are going to be overstepping boundaries again. They're not going to understand that they can't tell you what to do. Like a hygienist can't tell another hygienist what to do in most situations, you know. Even the lead hygienist can't tell you what to do. The lead hygienist can suggest things, and they can lead the practice and lead the hygiene team, but they're not your boss. You get what I'm saying? You understanding what everyone's role is within the office and knowing what you can do legally, what your understanding of the job is, because every job should have a handbook. Unfortunately, when it comes to private office where you work for a dentist, sometimes you'll find that they're not as professional and they don't have HR, they don't have a handbook, they don't have these things set in place. There should be some type of law book written for how we should be working together at this place of establishment. And it should be an employee handbook. I need to know what I can and cannot do, what I can be reprimanded for at work, and what someone can say to me and cannot say to me. Where's the sexual harassment video to show us? You know, like, know your policies, know your laws and procedures, so no one can come and play with you in your face about what they think your role is or what they think they can say to you or do to you. And also, so you aren't placed as the person who's in charge of someone else, because hygienists should not be in charge of assistants, and assistants should not be in charge of hygienists. You should be doing your job, they should be doing theirs, because you work together alongside each other. So what I'm describing is an unhealthy balance in power, and that is a red flag. That got to the end. You made it this far. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna do number 11, but make sure you like this video and you're also commenting as well. Don't be consumed by fear. Have faith, pray, use your instincts. You're smart, you got this, you've got this far. You know when something is wrong, you know when something is right for you and when something is not right for you. Don't doubt yourself, don't doubt those feelings, and don't doubt the experiences you're having as well. There are other jobs out there that will fulfill you, make you happy, that will keep your passion alive, and make you feel like you don't have to settle. Don't settle, and don't be afraid to leave a career either. Wholeheartedly believe in that. As you guys know, I'm a full-time travel hygienist for the past 4 years. And I've been doing dental hygiene all together for 8 years, and I have seen a lot. I have traveled around between Florida and New York, and I've seen so much. I no longer want to work for a private dental office or a corporate office because I've seen so much. And I feel like now I do not want to settle. I know that in myself that I want to work for myself, and I'm developing those skills now, and I'm learning how to do that. Who's watching this video, never settle for any career that you don't find interesting, that's boring to you just because it makes you a lot of money, or it's convenient, or that's what your family and your friends thought you should do. Definitely always pick the job that works for you. Granted, like my mom always told me, there's an 80-20 rule when it comes to relationships. So you're gonna like 80% of the things, and then you're not gonna like 20% of those things. I would say to make sure that the 20% is a 20% that you can handle, and a 20% that you're not compromising your soul. You're not selling your soul for that 20% just to make money. I thank you so much for watching this video, and let me know what you guys think in the comments again about how all of these may have worked for you. I thank the person who requested this video, and I hope this helps someone out there. I'll be back with more videos like this. Please leave in the comments what you request you want to see next, and I'm just so happy to continue to be growing this channel. So I hope you have a great rest of the day, and take care. See you next time. Bye.